talking about time looping. It's not just a feeling that you're having, like, have I seen this situation before? Have I done this before? It feels like vertigo. What is happening? Well, kinda, you might be. You are probably time looping. More like Wheel of Fortune karma looping, meaning that because karma meaning cause and effect at this point, is playing out in your life, and you are essentially being asked to make a different type of decision than the first time you tried this thing, whatever the situation is. You're being asked to choose right action, which means to choose something that is for your own and everyone else's highest good. And the reason you're being asked to try out this scenario or situation again is because you probably have a main quest or life purpose mission that needs to be completed in a certain way. It needs your response in a way that works out for everyone so that you don't have to do this again. I think one of the great examples that I've seen more recently is a show from Netflix called Russian Doll. And in this series, she's basically taken back to her birthday many times, and she dies several times, which could be perhaps equated to like an ego death. Many times until she chooses right action, which is to help someone out, someone near her that she didn't even know was not in her awareness until she looped enough times to where she became aware and she finally was able to cycle out of her wheel of fortune and become someone that was different, that was better, that was more caring and compassionate to the people around her. And that's really what the universe is asking you to do at this point. Maybe you weren't kind to yourself. Maybe there was somebody near you that needed help, and you're being asked again in the same situation or with different characters, because there's going to probably be a scene change. There's probably going to be different characters or people around you playing the roles. But essentially, the whole thing is the same. The whole scenario is the same. And it feels very trippy, right? But because you have fallen into this karma or this cause and effect, the universe wasn't quite happy with the first take and is going for take two. So, as the main character, you get to choose a different response. And it needs to be a response. It cannot be, I am afraid, I am going to react in the same way that I've always reacted, and I'm going to play the part in exactly the same way. That is what gets you to the same ego death loop and basically a scenario repeat. And while it's true that sometimes, we learn from a situation, we heal through it, and still it comes back around, sometimes that can be like taking a final instead of the pop quiz. Coming back to it more equipped than you were the first time and better able to handle the situation with a fresh perspective or new insight, or maybe there were a lot of other smaller steps that you had to take in order to learn the larger lesson. The thing is, you get more attempts, but the problem is it wastes time. And depending on how big a scene it was, it can feel very unnerving. It can feel very disappointing to have missed the first take. And I really need you to understand that when it comes to people, in certain situations, some situations are meant to be. Some people are meant to be in your life, and it's non-negotiable. And because of that, when there's a mistake, you get a second take or try at that scene, hopefully from a more mature perspective. And those same people will loop back around in your life. This is why there does not need to be any kind of anxiety or if, is this person going to end up in my life? Am I going to, have the best outcome in this situation? My heart is breaking. I just don't know if any of it's going to work out. You can let go of that worry. And the reason you get a second take is because that person was meant to be in your life. I once worked with someone in the restaurant industry, and she was going through like a separation with her child, and there was this whole legal situation, and she was just very much in distress about what was happening. And I told her that I was experiencing some things, and I was also just wanting to hang out. And so she came over for tea, and we decided to write poetry. And what came out was talking about the second try, or the second go around. And in that place, there was a meeting because people had changed, the situation had changed, and that gave her hope. The hope that she would get to experience being a mother more fully, and that maybe in the process of going through what she was experiencing, she had become better, more mature, different. And that's kind of what I am hinting at, is that, time is not linear. And if you're experiencing a time loop, it certainly doesn't feel linear whatsoever, because it feels like you've just repeated something, or that something is about to repeat. So time is something that our body has experienced, but as souls, we are only here to experience. And as such, the spirals of time, they only loop. Mayans are always talking about the cycles of time. Lots of different cultures talk about wheels of time, right? The wheel of Dharma, even. And so these are kind of like the spirals of getting to try a situation again and again until you get your highest outcome, and then you can continue on to the next lesson. So sometimes, and this is really important to be aware of, that sometimes these cycles are times of year for certain people. Maybe it's the summer or the spring, but whatever time of year, it's sometimes important to note when certain major events happened in your life, and to notice if you didn't like the outcome the first time, maybe it happens again differently. When you choose your highest outcome, there's a different feeling to it. There's an emotional release. There's an aha moment. There's coming to terms with certain truths that maybe you didn't like the first time, and really getting honest with yourself. Like, you will know when you have completed a cycle, because if you're really listening, your guides will tell you, okay, take a different action, take a different tack than what you did last time, and see how it feels. And it's probably going to be edgy, it's probably going to be scary, it's probably not going to be super comfortable, and that's how you know you have advanced to something different in that scene. So what are some ways to make sure that you can learn from a situation, so that when you get the second take, you can be the star that you wanted to see on the screen the first time? Well, first is to really take note of what did happen. Just get really real with it, because sometimes we're just in denial of what did happen, and to really feel through the emotions of that scene and to come to terms with it. Because the moment that we start denying something is the moment we give our power away to a situation or a group of people that don't deserve it. And we lose our own free will, our own sovereignty, and it weakens our ability to choose a better outcome the second time around. So get really honest with yourself. I know it can be difficult, but it is so worth it to really feel and to learn from what happened the first time. The second is to talk to your angels and guides and really get some perspective. Maybe talk to some people around you that you very much trust about what happened, and get some ideas on how to make that better. If you feel like you're in the scenario again, it's being presented to you to learn from for a second time. Are you ready? Are you ready to listen to a better suggestion, a better outcome? And then the third step is to just let go and allow yourself to flow into this new way of response. It is a choice. And it is a spontaneous one sometimes. It can be a spontaneous letting go of resistance to what held you back the first time. Allow yourself to experience that gift, because fear is usually what's holding us back. Fear is usually what's stopping us from experiencing our best and most vibrant experience. And it doesn't have to be that way. You get to choose a second time. That is a gift. And so when you loop back around, what will you choose? Will you choose a path of fear, or will you choose a path of your highest passion, power, excitement, vitality, and health? Because that choice, while it may feel like it's like cliff diving off of a very high spot, you're still going to be caught by water, by love, by emotions. You are fully supported. You are fully held in the arms of certainty, because the universe knows the best outcome. It's right there to catch you. You may not see where you are going to land, but it does. Can you trust the universe? And trust in and of itself is such a big lesson. You know, the virtues, while it may seem ridiculous to revisit those and be like, I have to have virtue. Well, sometimes having trust and faith, love, kindness, all of those things are necessary to get through the next phase of life, to get to the next scene, the next chapter, maybe even the next book, who knows? Maybe you've really gone far in one lifetime. And it may not always be comfortable, may not always feel safe, but know that you are supported, you are held, and whatever you choose, there will be good things that come from it. There is no right or wrong choice, but there are choices that are more in alignment with your best interest and the interest of those around you than others. So I hope that you choose to feel, that you choose to really get clear and very honest about the scenarios that you are noticing in your life, that you are willing to change, to create new habits, and to take on the challenge of making a new choice, because you are so very worth the best outcome there is. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Life Mechanics.